Good morning, everyone. Thank you. My name is David Booth from OISE, and it's my job, honored guests, delegates, friends, to welcome you to this session of the conference celebrating Jim Cummins' contributions to linguistic diversity. And it's a huge crowd, and you deserve that, Jim. His work in EL, ELL, ESL, EAL, FLQ, CIA, and the IRA, that's the reading group, right, has made him well known throughout the world. So I've been asked to introduce a man who needs no introduction, and the committee suggests that I add humor to the process. Humor and ELL, sort of an oxymoron, because you're all very serious people, wearing walking shoes and carrying knapsacks. And here I am, overdressed. At OISE, the young professors all wear blue jeans, and they've sanded the knees with holes in them to look very relevant and contemporary. I'm wearing a tie. Now, I have to admit that as a new person coming to OISE, years ago, I didn't understand Jim's amazing status here. I was sort of a young, arrogant punk thinking I'm here to help him. And I was told that Jim's office was in the language department on the 10th floor. No one I spoke to at OISE had ever been there. We'd never been admitted to that special and remote wing of the building. It appears you had to have a password and a special device implanted on your shoulder, so the alarm didn't ring as you went through the doorway. I didn't know that, and I wandered in thinking Jim would need my help, and suddenly the alarm went off, and I was tackled by Alistair Cummins, the pit bull protector of Jim's office. Alistair Cummins, Jim Cummins. I thought he was perhaps Jim's brother with dyslexia. Needless to say, I was ushered out. I knew better than to try again, but by chance, I did see Jim the next week. I was in the OISE lobby when a hush fell over the crowd. And I turned to see an entourage enter. First, Professor Antoinette Gagné, in a white flowing gown waving palm leaves, followed by a good-looking man in casual attire waving an Irish walking stick at the crowd. And he was followed by two graduate students dressed as Irish leprechauns playing an Irish jig on their flutes. And the girl standing next to me gasped when she fell to her knees and said, "Oh my God, it's Jim Cummins." Apparently, he came to OISE once a month to work with designated grad students who'd been vetted by a committee of ESL professors in advance. He gave up his international time and came here for a month. Then later, when we first met, I knew who he was by his wonderful Irish lilt. Today, I understand about every third word he says. But you have to know he has absolute celebrity status. You're here because of that reason. Wherever you're from, he's been there. And you've heard that students can't believe they can actually talk to him in dialogue, and they can, for brief times. Teachers at conferences wear badges, as you know, that say, "Jim Cummins taught me." A few years ago, I was speaking in Switzerland, and after my talk, the host said, "By any chance, can you get Jim Cummins to come and speak here? We'll give you a finder's fee." Me, a finder's fee. Well, Jim went and made $100. That's okay. I'm grateful. His CV is 57 pages long. I have it here. 5 trees. My CV is 2 pages, and I've written 40 books, so imagine what this guy has as an output. His latest writings, a report for Ireland called Towards Integrated Language Curriculum in Early Childhood and Primary Education, and his book Identity Text with Margaret Early represent a long, and I mean long, list of publications stretching back to the 1940s. Sorry, the 1980s. It's mine that goes back to the 1940s. He's had his books translated into so many languages. He once kindly gave me a book. He signed it. Said, to someone I don't know, yours, Jim. I took it with me on the plane to Beijing and found it was written in Norwegian. But I really enjoyed it. Thanks for the book, Jim. It's on eBay now. Just like Nellie Forbush in South Pacific, Jim's just a guy that can't say no. No matter the request, he answers yes. His last conference was on Pitcairn Island. That's where Mutiny on the Bounty was. This is a pretty sophisticated speech I'm doing here. There were no delegates there, but Jim gave a rousing speech. That's the thing about Jim Cummins. He's indefatigable. The entire audience at his speech may have drifted off and fallen asleep, and he continues on. More power to you. I tried to find some interesting tidbits about his life to make my intro sort of interesting. But all I could find was his publisher says he's always late submitting his writing. So what? So am I. But I did hear about his retirement plans, which is so interesting. He's a lifelong learner. He's not going to quit this. He wants to learn to play the tuba, take up cake decorating, and betting on online horse racing. That's admirable. Now, I want to talk about what I think. In a column in the newspaper this week, in what we call Canada's national newspaper, a columnist has written, we need to watch our immigration policies. We don't want a country full of ditch diggers and hotel maids. We don't want Philippine nannies here who never rise above their station. Well. That's why you're here. That's why your fight is big and strong. We're going to work for kids in their home language and make them strong in English, and value their culture, and value their homes, and value their contributions, whatever they are. You know why? Because you've had a leader, and a mentor, and a spokesperson who has always fought for the right kinds of linguistic diversity. Jim has shattered myths, developed new theories and concepts, promoted innovations in the classroom, changed policy, and shifted the paradigm of language instruction. Most of all, he's been part of the circle of those of us in literacy and language arts and those of you in ELL education. He always makes that circle, and I always feel that I'm in it. So now I present the Canada Research Chair for OIC at the University of Toronto, Dr. Jim Cummins. Thank you.